His voice grew thick. "I started my company to make sure no other family would lose their child the way we lost Emma. I've helped save dozens of kids since then, but I never got to meet their families face to face until tonight." Tears streamed down Sarah's face. Emma would be so proud of her big brother. She always said she wanted to be a doctor when she grew up. Help other kids feel better. As the train pulled into Cedar Falls, Jake pressed his business card into Sarah's hand along with detailed instructions about the surgery. "Just focus on being Timmy's mom. We'll handle everything else." "I'll never forget this," Sarah said firmly. "Someday, I'll find a way to pay you back." Jake smiled. "Just raise that amazing boy to help others. That's all the payment I need." *** 7 years later ***. Timmy, now 11 and captain of his little league team, played catch with his golden retriever in their backyard while Sarah watched from the wraparound porch of their modest but comfortable farmhouse. The white picket fence she'd always dreamed of now surrounded their property, and Timmy's bicycle, the one he'd gotten for his 10th birthday, leaned against the old oak tree her grandfather had planted decades ago. The surgery had been a complete success, and their lives had transformed in ways she'd never imagined since that providential night on the train. Inspired by Jake's kindness, Sarah had returned to school, earning her social work degree while working full-time. She'd started a non-profit called Heartland Heroes, connecting rural families facing medical crises with resources and support. The organization had grown from helping 3 families to serving hundreds across the Midwest. Sarah's leadership caught the attention of state officials and healthcare foundations nationwide. Then came the opportunity of a lifetime. The Department of Health and Human Services offered her the position of Regional Director for Rural Healthcare Access, a federal program ensuring children in small towns receive the same medical care as those in big cities. "The position comes with significant authority," they explained. "You'd oversee funding allocation for pediatric care across 12 states. Sarah accepted immediately, knowing this was her chance to multiply Jake's kindness across rural America. 3 months into her new role, Sarah received a devastating call. Mitchell Medical Solutions was in crisis. A corporate rival had launched a frivolous lawsuit, claiming patent infringement. Legal fees were bankrupting the company, and their assets were frozen pending litigation. "We might have to close down," Jake told her, his voice heavy with despair. 15 years of work, 200 employees, and worst of all, kids who need our equipment won't get it. Sarah didn't hesitate. "I'm calling an emergency federal review. Your company has saved thousands of children, including my son." Within 72 hours, Sarah had assembled federal attorneys, healthcare officials, and medical experts. She presented compelling evidence of Mitchell Medical's irreplaceable contribution to pediatric healthcare. "I'm recommending an immediate federal contract," Sarah announced to the review board. Mitchell Medical Solutions will become the primary supplier of pediatric cardiac equipment for all rural hospitals receiving federal funding. The contract value is $60 million, effective immediately. The board voted unanimously in favor. When Jake received the news, he was speechless. The federal contract not only saved his company but established them as the leading pediatric medical device manufacturer in America. "You didn't have to do this," he told Sarah when they met for lunch in Des Moines. "Yes, I did," she replied firmly. "You taught me that kindness creates ripples, not just moments. What you gave us that night wasn't just train tickets or surgery money. You gave us hope and a future." Jake's eyes filled with tears. "I never expected anything in return." "That's what makes real kindness so powerful," Sarah said. "You don't give expecting to receive. But kindness has a way of coming full circle when it's needed most." They sat watching families enjoy the sunny afternoon in the park across the street. Healthy children running and laughing, the kind of future Timmy now had because a stranger chose compassion over indifference. "Emma would love seeing this," Jake said quietly. "I think she's been guiding us all along," Sarah replied with a gentle smile. As they parted that day, both understood something profound. True success isn't measured in wealth or status, but in the lives we touch and the kindness we pass forward. Jake's single act of generosity had not only saved a child's life, it had created a leader who would save thousands more. And somewhere in the endless circle of human kindness, Emma's spirit lived on, proving that love never truly dies. It just finds new ways to heal the world, one heart at a time. The announcement crackled through Penn Station speakers like a final warning. Last call for the Cedar Falls Express, Track 7. All aboard. Sarah Beth clutched her worn leather purse, a gift from her grandmother 20 years ago, counting the crumpled bills for the third time with trembling fingers. $18.37, all she had left after Timmy's grueling day of tests at Children's Hospital. The parking garage alone had cost $12 she couldn't spare, and the cafeteria sandwich they'd split for lunch took another $8. She needed $42 for tickets home to Iowa, $42 that felt as impossible as climbing Mount Rushmore. "Mommy, I'm hungry," 4-year-old Timmy whispered, pressing closer to her leg. His Superman backpack, a birthday gift from her sister in Kansas, hung loose on his thin shoulders. Dark circles shadowed his eyes from the exhausting day of echocardiograms, blood draws, and consultations. The doctors had spent hours discussing his heart defect in clinical terms, using words like complex surgical intervention and pediatric cardiac specialist that made Sarah's stomach twist into knots. Each medical phrase felt like another nail in the coffin of their already strained finances. Behind them in line stood a tall man in his 30s, wearing a crisp navy suit and genuine leather cowboy boots that had seen some miles. His silver belt buckle, engraved with the outline of Texas, caught the terminal lights as he typed on his phone. Despite the expensive clothes, something in his posture suggested humility, like a man who'd earned his success through hard work rather than inheritance. 2 tickets to Cedar Falls, please, Sarah's voice barely carried to the window. $42, honey, the clerk said gently. Sarah's cheeks burned red. "I'm sorry. I can't pay right now. We spent everything at the hospital." "Excuse me, The man stepped forward, tucking his phone away. "Cedar Falls? That's my destination too." Sarah turned, embarrassed. The stranger had kind green eyes and a genuine smile that reminded her of her late father. "I'm Jake Mitchell," he said, extending his hand. "Looks like you could use some help." "Oh no, sir, I couldn't," Sarah started, but Jake was already reaching for his wallet. 2 tickets to Cedar Falls, he told the clerk, placing cash on the counter. "For the lady and her boy." Sarah stared in disbelief. "Sir, we're strangers. Why would you?" Jake knelt down to Timmy's level. "What's your name, partner?" "Timmy Johnson." "I'm 4 3/4, Timmy said solemnly. "Well, Timmy Johnson, sometimes folks just need to help each other out. That's what neighbors do." The clerk smiled warmly as she handed over the tickets. "You'll have a safe trip." On the train, they found seats together in the observation car, where large windows framed the American heartland. As golden cornfields and red barns rushed past in the fading daylight, Sarah found herself opening up about their journey. Timmy's heart condition diagnosed at 6 months old, the mounting medical bills that had forced them to sell her car, her job at Mickey's Diner where she worked double shifts but still barely covered rent on their tiny apartment above the hardware store. "His daddy left last spring when the diagnosis got serious," she admitted quietly, her voice barely audible over the train's rhythmic clacking. "Packed his truck one morning and left a note saying he couldn't handle having a sick kid. Haven't heard from him since, not even a birthday card for Timmy." Jake's jaw tightened. "Then he wasn't the man you and Timmy deserved." "Mr. Jake," Timmy piped up, "do you fix hearts?" Jake chuckled. "No, buddy, but I make the machines that help doctors fix hearts. My company is called Mitchell Medical Solutions." Sarah's breath caught. "You mean the equipment for children's heart surgery?" As Sarah described Timmy's diagnosis, Jake listened intently. His company manufactured the exact devices needed for Timmy's procedure, surgery that cost nearly $300,000. "There's only one surgeon who can do this operation," Sarah continued, her voice breaking. "Dr. Rebecca Martinez in Chicago. But the waiting list is 2 years, and even if we could afford it." "Dr. Martinez is a friend of mine," Jake said quietly. "We developed the technology together." Jake pulled out his phone and stepped into the aisle, pacing slowly as he made several calls. Sarah watched him through the reflection in the window, speaking in hushed but urgent tones, occasionally glancing back at Timmy, who had fallen asleep against her shoulder. She caught fragments of his conversations: emergency case, immediate scheduling, and foundation approval. 20 minutes later, he returned to his seat with a smile that could have powered the entire train. Timmy's surgery is scheduled for next month. Dr. Martinez had a last-minute cancellation, and she's agreed to take his case. Everything's covered through the Mitchell Foundation: surgery, hospital stay, recovery, even your travel expenses. Sarah's hands flew to her mouth. Why? Why would you do this for us? Jake was quiet for a long moment, watching the Iowa landscape roll by, silos and farmhouses dotting the horizon like something from a Norman Rockwell painting. 8 years ago, my little sister Emma died from the same heart defect Timmy has. She was only 6, blonde pigtails and missing front teeth, always wanting to play doctor with her stuffed animals. The technology to save her didn't exist then, but I promised myself at her funeral that no other family would go through what we did.